Hello.
Hello and welcome to Watchin' Stuff, the show about watching stuff. I'm Nero, and with me is my Canadian counterpart, Whyboy, and today we're taking a look at the very controversial film that is Sony's The Emoji Movie. But before we begin, would it be wrong for me to give my grade on it right now, or should it hold till the end?
Might as well give her the grade. I think we're going to be slightly different on it, but give your grade. Let's have a starting platform to where this discussion will go.
Alright. I want to give it a rock bottom, but it's not because it's terrible. Like, it's not insulting really in any way.
Yeah.
Until you hit, like, the wannabe feminism parts that are, you can clearly tell are forced in the movie to hit a certain demographic.
Just like Ghostbusters.
They do that quite a bit.
Yeah, that was just so eye-rollingly bad.
Yeah. But, yeah, what's yours at? And then we'll discuss the film from there. Because I feel like starting it with it first might actually help, because it's like, we'll talk about it then, because... Yeah. I just feel like getting it out of the way now like a Band-Aid almost.
Yeah. Well, for the Emoji Movie, for me, I would have to put it as sort of a crud chowder sort of thing. It was sort of on the lines of meh, but I know this is just such a typical bad movie.
I gotta ask you, legit question, bro to bro.
Mm-hmm.
Did you laugh at all, or was it more like just kind of a quasi-smirk here and there?
I think I just quasi-smirked. I was very close to laughing at one joke, but they set it up very well, but then as soon as they went for the payoff, they ruined it.
I gotta tell you, this has to be my second most memorable theater-going experience I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah? What happened at the theater?
Well, okay, my very first experience that was really good was when they decided to bring back Dragon Ball and they made the movie Battle of Gods.
Mm-hmm. We
went to the theater, and the whole theater, every last one of us, sung the theme song to Dragon Ball when it started playing.
Nice.
And it was very beautiful. It was like everyone was in sync. We're all just here because we love Dragon Ball.
Aw, that sounds like a great experience. Then, wait a minute, why was this the second one for the Emoji Movie that good?
Okay, it wasn't by any means a full theater, but there were plenty of kids who showed up.
Oh, of course.
There wasn't a single laugh.
Not there from any of the kids?
There wasn't a laugh from the kids. There wasn't a laugh from the adults. It was so dead that at one point somebody dropped their fork, because the theater I go to, the Roadhouse, is a restaurant theater. Somebody dropped their fork, and it was so dead you could literally hear a fork drop.
Wow.
That's how uninterested, how unfunny kids, and I don't mean like the teen range.
You mean like the 6-year-old kids?
I mean like the one that this audience was clearly, this film was aimed towards, was like like toddlers and younger kids, like the 5 to 6, 7 to 8 range.
Yeah, which is odd because it's all about like cell phones and such, which is more, well, back in the day, more privy to like teenagers and such. Even though every 6-year-old can get an iPad now. Yeah, but like, not one adult, not one teen, not one child, not even the few elderly that were there laughed. Even the jokes that I knew were pop culture references that the older audience would get didn't laugh. Like, there's a joke in there where Poop turns around and he's in a chair, and it's clearly referencing the fact that Sir Patrick Stewart was on Star Trek. Yeah.
And I'm like, Star Trek joke, okay. Nothing. No one.
Yeah, I had a slightly different theater experience. Like, I did have a nice range of, like, young to old. But there were like a few chuckles in there at least, and at the very end, some of them like clapped at the end of it.
None of that. People just got up and left. Like, dude, you know how they have the mid-roll with Smiler?
Yeah.
The theater was empty by the time that...
Yeah.
And that's like what, less than a minute when credits start rolling?
Yeah, I know. It felt like dead air in my theater as well. Just some people were just sitting there just out of obligation, it looked like.
My thing is, like, I do think this is a rock bottom, and it comes from... It's a film that lacks originality.
Mm-hmm.
In every sense of the word. Like, people say, oh, it's like, it's like Inside Out, because we visit the outside world, much in the same way with Riley and Inside Out. There's some kid whose name I can't remember. He was black, so kudos there. They didn't make it like a generic white kid, I guess, so...
Yeah, that's good. Now he's just a generic black kid.
Yeah, nice. Congratulations. Now we're equal, right? Now both parts of the coin
are generic and bland as
are boring and uninteresting. Hoopla. Yeah, like there's this kid and he has a crush on a girl and he doesn't know how to talk to her. So this is trying to be a commentary on like, oh, because we're all so vapid in our cell phone. I don't like this message only because it seems hypocritical that Sony, a company that sells this product, like, they sell cell phones.
Yeah.
And they're like, you people are so vapid for being in your cell phones, so I shouldn't buy the product you sell? No, please, buy the product we sell. That's why we made this movie, to cater to your likes. But you're saying I'm, like, vapid and shallow because I talk on my cell phone. Well, yeah, but that's what the movie's for you to watch, maybe on your cell phone.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange, too, because this movie, it obviously got so famous on social media and such through the cell phone and everything. And at the end of the day, you just gotta go past your cell phone. You gotta really just speak of who you really are. That's why our relationships in this world are just told through a single emoji.
I think one of the shallowest parts of the film, too, there is good messages.
Yeah.
There's, like, really good messages here. Like, there's a great part where Jean, the lead character, is talking to Jailbreak. And she says, I've always been used to looking out for number one, And Jean looks at her and he says, what's the point of being number one if there are no other numbers around?
Yeah.
That's a good message, and in a better movie, that'd be very poignant.
Yeah, I would agree there. Like, let's just go back to the story a little bit, because really, we need to know the standard of the story before really into, like, how good some of these thematic themes they put into this movie can be.
It's basically Wreck-It Ralph's story, the idea that you're born in a situation in your life, and you're sort of complacent to your role. In Ralph's case, it was being a bad guy for a video game. In this case, Gene is a meh emoji, but he can't just go flat. He is a wide range of emotions.
Yeah.
And by wide range of emotions, we mean he's pretty one-note as a character, but he can make faces. So that somehow equates to range of emotions.
Yeah. It really didn't really flesh out anything in his character just to show him being a little bit hyperactive. But even just saying little hyperactive isn't really much of a description of Gene at all.
It's more like just a quirk.
Yeah.
That's really it.
If Jailbreak and High Five, the other two characters have much more defined characters than Gene did.
Well, the other one's the fat buddy archetype. That's clear what High Five is supposed to be. That's why he eats incessantly when they go into Candy Crush.
Yep, and then the tough girl archetype from Jailbreak.
I gotta bring this up. Is nobody sick and tired that we just traded the girly girl stereotype for a tomboy stereotype?
Yeah, it really is such a played out sort of archetype used in a lot of these movies.
It's like saying, oh, see, women can be strong and efficient. They can be just as strong as men can. Yeah, but, like, you're basically saying in this stereotype, though, it's almost like, yeah, but if you're girly girl, then there's a problem. There's nothing wrong with liking girly stuff, but being, like, badass. That's
exactly.
Mabel Pines all over. Like, Mabel isn't even a full tomboy. Because Mabel likes girly stuff too. She likes boy bands, she likes dress up and makeovers, but she likes beating the crap out of monsters and whipping out a grappling hook.
Yeah, to make a really strong female character, you basically have to accept that both sides of the coin are okay for a girl to be. They can be girly and they can be strong. They can be anything they want. You just have to be confident in that.
Yeah, like, actually, the thing is, and this is actually a good point with, like, My Little Pony, like, Rarity the Unicorn as a character is virtually very much a girly girl. She's into fashion, she's into makeup, she's into looking fabulous. She's also a hardworking woman that owns her own business.
Yeah.
So, and, like, raises her sister on her own because her parents are traveling abroad.
Yeah, exactly. There's a fleshed-out girl personality in that.
You can encompass multiple sides. That's like saying men can only be one thing, and that's tough. Like,
yeah, and that's why we always get like, the grizzled white guy in all these sort of action movies.
Yeah, you know, the hetero, tough, rugged, no-nonsense male.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, in an alternate world, that would be just as bad as the girly girl stereotype or the tomboy girl archetype.
Because it's so commonplace now. You know, I'll give Ghostbusters credit. You know, at least they let them be scientists. Yeah. But then they overplayed so many other archetypes, though, because then it's like, oh, this one's fat and clumsy, this one's a spaz, this one's a quirky scientist. Yeah. And then there was the one that's a character that nobody liked, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, this suffers from all the same problems, and so many of the things are choreographed so obviously, like, hi, Jailbreak, we heard you got the princess out of this. She's the missing princess.
Oh, yeah. I think that's probably what I find the most stupid in this movie. They really just speak a lot of the exposition in this movie to make it so obvious.
It's not even, it's okay, yeah, you're right, you were 100% right, they do speak it, which they kind of have to because it's a movie, but it's like they specifically do it in a way to draw attention at a specific line of dialogue, like the way I'm talking to you now is how they do it.
Yeah, they basically just point out everything, and I'm not even just going to the point of just, like, they're expositing, like, some world building and stuff, because I know, because they do have to exposit those bits. I mean, like, in sort of action scenes, like, oh my god, we gotta tie up this monster, run over there, run over here, do all that, whoa!
Wasn't that the same problem with the Stork movie?
It's a little bit, but I think Storks did a little bit better, because they added a little bit more subtext in the situation, which is odd enough. Like, subtlety in that movie, what the hell?
At least the Storks had, you know, the wolves.
Yeah, and the wolves were awesome.
I gotta tell you, I didn't connect to a single character.
No.
And I gotta tell you, I get the idea of making a meh the lead.
Yeah, to basically just sort of push out from the sort of like blank personality that basically most people have. They have sort of an apathetic nature towards everything, but you can be more than that.
Yeah. Did you feel that... Okay, I don't know about you, but me... The apathy of, like, his mom and his dad was so contagious. I felt really apathetic towards the movie. And, I went in with an open mind, like, I'll give it a shot, and I'll tell you, like, highlighting the positives, animation's very good.
Yeah.
For a $50 million movie, that's like drug money. That's Ryan Reynolds once made the joke about the Deadpool movie because it had a really thin budget. He once made the joke, the budget we have for this Deadpool movie is the equivalency that a major motion picture spends on the drugs for the after party.
Oh.
For a $50 million movie, this looks really good, which begs me the question, is Disney spending way too much?
Yeah,
when they make their animated films.
But keep it on the mind of the Emoji Movie. And yeah, we do have the parents and such in their apathetic nature. And we have Gene as well, just trying to go, I gotta prove myself to my parents that I can really be a meh. And which sort of kickstarts the whole plot. But
that starts it, but then his goal wasn't even to like make his parents proud. His goal was, well, if I could just change the kind of person I am, I could make them proud of me. analog for being gay or trans, you decide, but no, it probably isn't, not even the slightest.
Probably not.
That's giving way too much credit.
No, but I felt that the idea that could have worked for just the storyline, like, it has all the beats to basically work, but yeah, when we go back to the mess, they aren't just so apathetic, they just sort of suck out any sort of emotion you can have from it. Like, there's later in the story, there's this one scene where the Mez have broken up, but then they're getting back together in, like, one of the Instagram pictures.
France, yeah.
Yeah. And they're in the Paris, and they're basically going like, "Oh, wow, honey, what are you doing here? Oh, hun, it turns out that I was like Jean as well." Oh.
Which, by the way, I gotta ask. So, it's genetic?
Yeah.
So this isn't about Jean being a unique case or a unique person that we could associate with because of the uniqueness. It's genetic.
Yeah, I guess. And it sort of leads to sort of another question I've seen with other reviews as well. Like, is Jean's dad a bad dad character because he was so pushing against Jean for this, when it especially is part of his heritage sort of thing?
Well, I don't think so, because he was clearly protective of his son. That's why he didn't want him to go in the cube where you get scanned to be uploaded as a symbol. He was doing it out of protection. That, to me, shows he does love Jean, but he isn't fully capable of showing it in a different manner because, obviously, Emoji. And again, the problem with choosing that as a character model is then there's no character.
Yeah.
It's just, this is dad, this is a mom, this is a son. That's what it ends up turning into. Your characters need to have a range of emotions.
Yeah, and so when you give these Mez these emotional lines and such in their makeup scene, you don't feel anything for it. Because you can't. No, because
they're apathetic towards it.
So it's just like, well, they don't care, why should we care?
Yeah, that's the thing, like, you know, again, I harp on Frozen, but, you know, Elsa was heartbroken that Anna got frozen. Like, I didn't feel it, yes, because I don't feel like the connection was strong enough. But in the context of the film, at least you could tell, like, oh, yeah, Elsa cares that her sister got hurt. That's something. But in this one's like, son, you're all right. Thank goodness. Well...
Oh, you care so much for me, Dad. I can tell by the way you... emote?
Emote? Question mark? like, some of the visuals, were they really clever? Clever might not even be the right word, but some of them are very nice.
Yeah, I think they're nice, but I think the movie just sort of ruins it in a way by mostly explaining the visuals in a lot of sense.
A little bit. Like, some of them I thought was clever. Like, there's a part where Jean bumps into the elderly, and it's a bunch of emoticons. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute, because, you know, emoticons are what predated the emoji. I mean, the joke doesn't work because people still use emoticons, so it's not really old. Yeah, I use them on a daily basis, so I mean...
I use them as basically the hotkeys to get to the emojis.
Yeah. None of the poop jokes work in any way. They're not... The joke's that's Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, it's just Patrick Stewart doing his voice.
Yeah, I mean, like, do I think he still sounds good? Well, yeah, it's Patrick Stewart, though. I mean, he's got a good voice.
Yeah, but they just push the poo so much in this movie, just have them show up every once in a while.
I noticed it's funny that, like, the big poster, the one I remember is, like...
Shit happens.
No, well, that's another big one, where it's, like, it specifically is one with just poop on there, and they're using it as a promotional, because it's like, we got Patrick Stewart. By the way, guys, he really isn't in the movie. He really isn't. He's not even a side character, because a side character, you can argue, is a character that helps the main character interact in some way, shape, or form. Like, really, Jean is the main character, and then the side characters that are supporting him on the journey are High Five and Jailbreak. Mm-hmm. Poop is just a background character that occasionally talks.
He's sort of like the main background character.
Because it's Patrick Stewart. It's a famous voice.
Yeah. And that...
That's it.
it feels so manipulative in a way.
Oh, it is. No, it's a total business move in the highest caliber. That's the point to it.
Yeah.
I mean, what sucks to me is, like, I really wish he was a main character, though, because I actually really enjoy Patrick Stewart as a performer.
Yeah, and he was doing a good voice as Poop. It just, he wasn't really doing a whole lot other than being Poop.
Yeah, like the joke's like, he's Poop, and he has a very articulate voice. Isn't that clever? And it's like, don't get me wrong, like, his laugh is almost contagious, but everything else is so, like, apathetic around it. I mean, like, even the other emojis, like, the devil, was it Steve?
Yeah.
Nothing. There's a devil, his name's Steve, and he flirts with the angel. That's it.
Yeah. Really.
Christina Aguilera is the mascot for the Just Dance app. I think it's weird that they didn't use any Christina Aguilera music for that scene.
Yeah, that was definitely weird about it, but I definitely think she's probably my favorite background character to it, mostly because just after her game is deleted, she just found in the trash can just shaking and shivering.
Where she looks like some kind of, like, washed-out street hooker.
Yeah, just like, oh my god.
Like the running mascara.
Is this what happens to my apps? Oh well, delete.
Yeah, oh god, like, here's the thing. It's a little bit kind of like Toy Story, where the idea is,
what if your apps were alive?
Yeah, you know, like, it's almost like, man, wouldn't it be nice to be like a Pixar movie?
Yeah.
And it's like, with better writing, because really, this just needed, like, better writing.
Yeah, this really...
Better humor, too.
Yeah, basically, my main point of this movie is, like, I'm not like all those other reviewers and such are just calling this the worst movie ever, 0%, put a red X over it.
Like, there are people who are like, this is like Norm of the North bad. Are you kidding me? Like, Norm of the North literally has a scene... Norm of the North literally has a scene where, like, the hamsters or lemmings or whatever, they're, like, pissing for, like, 5 minutes into, like...
Yeah, fish bowls and other places as well.
And it's like, oh, come on. This is nowhere near as bad. On visual alone, this far surpasses Norm of the North.
Yeah, and
on visual alone.
Yeah, and storytelling alone, like, the Emoji Movie is at least competently told. You know the beginning, middle, and end of it. You know what the characters are all about. Just Gene's just the blandest one.
Yeah, the thing is, like, people don't realize, and I'm not saying this as a general term, like, you know, anyone watching or anything, but it's like, the general consensus with a lot of audiences, people want new all the time.
Yeah.
And the cold, hard truth is, it's not gonna happen.
You're not getting new all the time at all. You're just getting regurgitated stories of the same story.
The key is how you tell it. For example, Secret Life of Pets is just Toy Story.
Yeah.
That said, did we like Secret Life of Pets?
Yeah, we did. And then there were some people who didn't like The Secret Life of Pets. And that's completely fine, because it is just Toy Story. There's a range that you can have with these movies, rather than just saying, oh, this isn't new, so bleh. 0.
Yeah, that's... like, Moana is really just Aladdin. What if instead of a street rat, it's a princess? What if instead of a genie, it's a demigod? Instead of a carpet, it's the ocean.
And not a monkey, but a chicken.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people argue, you know, we want new. Go back and watch Disney movies back to back and tell me each one is unique and original and doesn't do anything the other one did. I dare you.
Yeah, they're mostly, and they are based a lot on book adaptations, actually, guys. Ah, stupid phone.
Good times. The emojis, they've come for us!
No,
I'm out, my boy!
I'm trying to get out of here.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm back. I almost tripped and broke my neck.
Yeah, don't do that. Just covering up the phone, trying to kill it. God damn it.
You're like that indeterminate black kid from
After I kill this phone, we can talk about him. Because, yeah, like you were saying, like, the whole Inside Out parallel to this thing.
Yeah, like, okay, so Riley's idea, this is actually something I like about Inside Out. The whole thing with Riley is that she's a girl that had to deal with this move, the loss of her friends, in a new place, scared, something we could all relate to. and she's obviously dealing with depression.
Yeah.
From the situation. That's why, like, the emotion shut down and the console goes black.
Now, what's wrong with average black kid?
The thing about Alex's character, and I have Wikipedia open. I couldn't remember his name. I really couldn't. All I remember is that he was the black kid. And I know people can be like, well, that's racist. Look, if it was like Riley, who had layers and personality, there wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, we would call him Alex, and now he's having a struggle with finding a girl. But he has such a paper-thin, like, sort of grasp on everything that he...
Because you ever notice that the movie's got 3 plots?
Yeah.
It's got Jean's journey to the cloud. It's got Alex trying to get a girl, and then the Mez trying to find their son. And the Mez don't really seem to show any emotion to care, and I know people are going to be like, that's the point. Yes, but when you tell a story, if we can't care about the characters, you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah. It's not even really, I feel that the Mez don't really show emotions. It's just that they show the beats of the emotions. Like the mother character, it's all like, oh no, how could you dare say that, Belle? I'm going to go off on my own now because I'm so mad at you.
There are scenes, like, especially with the Met parents, where they're like, they basically just say the emotion they're feeling and like, oh, that's the joke. But the thing about a joke is, if it's a joke you've heard once, it loses its punch. Yeah. And if it's a joke used consistently, the punch becomes lighter and lighter and lighter to the point where it doesn't even hit.
Yeah.
With Alex, the idea is that he doesn't know how to express himself to a person that's a girl he has a crush on. It's not by any means a bad concept, but in this day and age, it seems like you could just... What with all the social media we have...
Yeah, it feels like this was a really shallow way of just approaching the problem. Especially when they do the funny thing where his friend just says, send her an emoji. That'll show her how you feel. One
character, I don't know if you listen, it's like a weird line that somebody says in the background, and someone says, words aren't cool. Who talks like that?
Words aren't cool, bruh.
Oh boy, I can't wait till we get the script. What is this? Man, words aren't cool. Well, what am I supposed to say to the mic? Hey, man. Words aren't cool.
Hey, you can just be like Disney was on social media for a time when the Emoji Movie was just getting off the ground. Just tell the movies with emojis. That was awful when they did that.
Like, I don't even remember that.
I remember that all being all over Facebook for a time.
Oh, man, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. It was thanks to the Emoji Movie, though. Thanks, guys.
The thing is, like, when you get down to it, like, the story is basic, the characters are basic. Jailbreak isn't even a good character. Because, like, they keep doing the faux feminist angle, and it doesn't work. Having her... Okay, like, there's a part where someone's like... When they find out she's the princess, someone says, is it true that when a princess whistles, she could, like, summon animals or birds to her aid? And she gets really high and mighty about it and says, like, that's something the male emoji created for the women emoji to have. That's not true. And then they get to the third act, and she whistles and summons animals to her side.
Oh, no, I thought that could have been actually funny if they just did it magically like that. But no, they didn't do that. They go, whistle once, nothing happens. Then she gets all a little bit pissed off, then she whistles again, nothing happens. Then she whistles a third time more beautifully. Then finally nothing happens. So she just whistles a loud whistle, and then the tweets come in. Because
the bird from Twitter shows up, yeah. The thing I hate about that is, like, the reason she was getting mad is, like, oh, that's a stereotype of women. But when you do it, then the stereotype's not a stereotype, it's a fact.
Yeah, it's what you did.
Like, the fact is, you're a princess, you could whistle and summon animals to your aid.
So you just like, oh, yeah, I can do that, actually.
But that's not a stereotype. That's a fact. That's not someone saying, like, oh, all women do that. That's that's saying, God damn, because it's like really confusing to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she says it like, oh, that's just something that's simply not true, but then we're giving evidence, thus making it true.
Yeah, it just sort of defeats the purpose of the whole feminist angle that they're trying to go for.
Honestly, it's such a weird afterthought, like, that they added that in, where it's like, oh yeah, she's also a feminist, and it's like, that's not even one of the main themes of the film that we're trying to find. I mean, I get the idea is, like, the theme, I guess, is supposed to be yourself, but it's very half-hearted, because, like, Gene causes all that problem in the first act, where he spazzes out in the cube, and he gets misscanned, and then it causes, like, the destruction of the cubes, but then he comes back at the end and gets scanned and did exactly what he did the first time, and everybody loves him.
Yeah, it's basically just sort of like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer sort of ending.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you did what you know. We didn't like it when you did it before, but now it's...
Now you're useful to us, and that makes us like you.
Now it's okay. I guess we'll talk about the main antagonist, Smiler, which, by the way, I think is named improperly.
Yeah.
She looks like the grin emoji.
Yeah, I think she's supposed to be the grin emoji, but they just did smile, and I just hate her as an antagonist.
This might just be me. Were you, like, really just annoyed every time she showed up, as opposed to, like...
Yeah, I really was. I wanted her off the screen. We've been watching a ton of anime movies recently, right? Like, we watched Ballerina and all those sort of things.
Yeah, Ballerina, the Monster of Paris, all that stuff.
Yeah. Like, when we can compare Monster of Paris and Ballerina and their villains, what did we really like about them? Even in Ballerina, where it was kind of a piece of crap.
Well, while it was bland in Ballerina, at least we had that hilarious psychotic break at the end that came out of left field, and that alone was like, well, that's genuinely entertaining.
Yeah, and the Monster of Paris. The main antagonist sort of went from just the douchey sort of, oh, I'm all prop and prim and I'm just perfect in every way, and he went all acts crazy and all that.
With this one, it's...
She starts off at just 10, and just never lets up at all. Ever.
The thing is that gets me is, like, I know what they were trying to do. Like, oh, isn't it creepy that she smiles all the time? Not really. We live in an emoji world. She's doing what she's supposed to be doing. This is normal, though.
Yeah.
Like, the opposite would have been... Actually, you know what would have been really apropos?
What, if she could frown or something? When she got really upset?
No, like, she released the, the viruses to delete Gene, right?
Yeah.
Like, she basically releases the Terminator, which, I guess you could almost consider that a knockoff, too. She releases a artificial intelligent entity to hunt down a person.
Yeah.
Might as well. Which would have made this much better is if, and it could have been a simple line of dialogue. She releases the viruses, and the viruses scan emoji or scan programs, and if your program is different or not, acceptable for the parameters of what's been set, they'll delete you.
Yeah.
There should have been a part then, as the movie progresses, she clearly becomes more and more psychotic, to the point where she becomes an angry emoji, and they scan her, and then they killed her.
Yeah, that would have actually been more apropos.
And then they shut down, because she was the one who started it all.
Yeah, but no, they went for the goofy sort of thing, where she gets smushed.
And she was fine. They put braces on her, and that's it. And it's hilariously, they never address, so she's, clearly psychopathic. And, they don't talk about it. She flat out tries to murder Gene, then she tries to kill Gene's father, and then she tries to kill Patrick Stewart, and nothing. Wave it off. Don't even care. The movie doesn't care. It just glazes over and then goes to the credits.
Yeah, let's go to the DreamWorks party at the end.
I'm really getting sick of that. I was sick of it when DreamWorks did it, but I'm getting really sick of that, other studios do it. By the way, dude.
Yeah. This
movie was pulling from the Smurfs.
It was?
Yeah, they did the river bit, like the raging rapids, but
right, yes.
And then they did the same joke with Clumsy, but with Gene. Remember when Clumsy fell off the bridge and he was screaming like he was falling, but he was just laying on a rock? They did the exact same joke with Gene, and as I sat there, I'm like, who did the Smurfs? Sony.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, like we can just place the scenes together. They totally ripped off their own movie.
Yeah. It's a shame, too, because, like, Smurfs is fine. I enjoyed it. I was happy with it.
I enjoyed it, too.
Like, I'm not even mad at this movie.
Me neither.
I'm not. My rock bottom comes from the fact of, like...
You wouldn't really recommend it to anybody for it.
I wouldn't recommend it. Not even you gotta see how bad it is. No. Do something else. Read a book. Go online. Hang out with friends.
Yeah, and I just give it a crud chowder because it's not a meh where it's just like completely sort of like blasé. It's crud chowder in the sense like it's just a bad movie. A very typical bad movie. With bad writing, bad characters and such, but not insulting ones. Just badly written.
Yeah, it's... Honestly, here's the thing, and I know this is gonna sound like really weird, but guys, this is Sony. Let's be honest. How good can they really do? This was the company that sank a Ghostbuster franchise and a Spider-Man franchise, so much so that they had to go to Mickey and ask for handouts to get Spider-Man back up. That's how bad it was. Like, yeah, they're talking, we still got a Sinister Six movie we're working on, and Mysterio, Kraven, and Venom, too. Yeah, you were also the guys that said you wanted to give Aunt May a movie. So, frankly, you guys need to start firing people and get in some fresh blood, and you need to do it yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you get the short, by the way? Like the Hotel Transylvania short at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, I got that, too.
Dude... That wasn't really funny either.
No, not really. I thought it was cute, but that's it.
Like, it's cute, it's a big dog, and that's it.
Yeah.
It made me realize, like, man, I got really kind of bored with this franchise after that first one.
Well, we got the TV show to watch sometime, so we'll see how that is sometime.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, guys, I'm not going to get upset with this, because it's like when people have asked me, you don't like these DC movies. Why don't you review them? What's the point? My criticism's been for all of them, except for Wonder Woman, which I haven't seen, which is, I wish they were better. I wish they cared more. I wish the effects were better. The acting was better. The writing was better. It's like trying to review a Michael Bay film. What's the point of reviewing a Michael Bay Transformer movie? They all have the same problem.
Yeah. I just felt like it was good to review the Emoji Movie, because I feel there are some solid ideas in this.
I think the studio is so promising in terms of, like, their animation could easily rival the stuff that the other big ones do, and they do it for, like, a quarter of the budget.
Yeah.
And that's smart. And that's smart because that leads me to feel Sony could risk being a bit more experimental with their animated films.
Yeah, just like what DreamWorks actually does.
Yeah, like the thing about, like, Disney and Pixar is, you could tell they play it safe. They're scared to be experimental. They really are. I mean, even as much as I like Inside Out, what if feelings had feelings? That's what it is.
Well, that's what most of their movies are.
Yeah, like most of their movies are, what if X had feelings? It's the way they play the game. They keep in the safe zone and it makes them a lot of money. I understand why you would do that. With Sony, here's the thing. If you're going to have a smaller budget, you're allowed to take bigger risks, though. You're not losing as much money. I'm sure the Emoji Movie will probably maybe break even at most.
I think it's already going to go towards that, because I think basically this movie's most evilest fact is that I'm sure that they really realized in the end that they didn't make such a great movie at all. This is such a mediocre, bad movie that they had all this money on the standby. So why not advertise the hell out of it to make it seem like the worst? Because I feel personally that people just really hate emojis in a sense. They feel like they're so just blasé and all that. They just use it ironically in a sense. Which is weird because we do use emojis all the time. But
it's funny because people would argue, like, it feels almost like people just wanted this movie to be bad, and I don't believe that. I don't believe... Because none of us gain anything from it being a bad film. Like, none of us had money on it in such a way. We would win nothing by it being bad.
Yeah. I don't believe that as well. I don't believe people wanted it to be bad. I believe Sony was banking on it that everyone wanted it to be bad. Because there is such a thing as just sort of the group mentality of, I'm sure people have been spreading this sort of comment everywhere. It's like, people are just watching it just ironically and such.
Yeah, it's like The Room. Yeah. Oh, I hear how bad it is, I have to go see it. And I think, and, I can't say it for a fact. I'm not in the boardroom meetings. I can't say it for a fact. But I think my theory is that was the point. Yeah, to make a movie that people would talk about.
I don't even think it's like they make the movie. I think they made the movie. They made the script first and realized, wow, this is a very standard story. How are we going to advertise this? Just the Emoji Movie. Who's going to watch this? So why not advertise it with Patrick Stewart on the poster with shit happens on it?
Yeah, it's like, oh, isn't that like almost controversial? And it's like, yeah, but it really isn't.
Yeah, but everyone else is going to say, oh, controversial. Who would ever make an Emoji Movie and blah, 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 blah. And just like mountains of vile would come out from everybody by making it sound so weird and so awful in the end.
I then raised the question of this. Did anybody expect there to be a Lego movie, let alone a movie called The Lego Movie, and it to be really good?
I would believe not.
We all saw the trailer for the Lego Movie, and we all thought, oh, this is just an ad for Legos. And it turned out to be a nice, not flawless, by any means, not flawless, but a very compelling, simple story, which is basically the same thing of, like, what's my place in the world if I don't fit in?
Yeah.
It's, Ralph had it. Gene and this had it. Shrek.
Yeah, I feel like this movie was basing a lot of itself on Shrek as well, actually.
Like, that's the thing, like, the Lego Movie isn't original. We've seen it. We've seen it a bunch of times. But we liked Emmett. We liked Wild Style. Clearly Sony did too. That's why they put Wild Style in this and called it Jailbreak. I mean, right down to the multicolored hair.
And just a funny fat guy character with funny in air quotes.
Yeah, funny, man, just...
This is just basically... The Emoji Movie is really just a bad movie. So even if you do watch it, folks out there, don't really take it like this is the worst thing ever, because there's definitely worse things out there.
There are way worse. Remember, Norm in the North made it to theaters.
For a very short time, to be fair. But yeah, it made it to theaters.
Like, it's animation quality... It's acting, it's writing. That was not something theatrical worthy.
Yeah, even then, Norm of the North isn't the worst thing ever. It's just out there, in a sense. Unlike, who would think that should be in theaters?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you wanna rip this movie apart, go for it. But I think I have to feel like I have to stress this because we live in such a venomous environment with the way the web the way it is. Do not eat each other over this. Do not tear each other apart over the Emoji Movie, because
it's not worth it.
By this time next year, we're all going to forget that it existed.
Yep. No one's going to remember a single thing about it.
I strongly doubt Sony's going to visit this well again. We know they have another Hotel Transylvania coming out. They're going to have that, what looks like a terrible Jumanji movie.
Yeah.
Coming out.
Yeah, based on video game Jumanji this time.
It's not Jumanji then.
It got adapted.
In universe, what happened? Did someone discover the board game and like the Shigeru Miyamoto of that universe was like, this should be a game.
They put this death game onto a cartridge. Perfect.
7 days. But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap up with that. This episode did go a bit longer than expected, but I'm fine with that, quite honestly.
Yeah, me too.
People really build this to be so bad. And part of me believes that was Sony's intent.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I believe that 110% that was Sony's intention.
It's like how the marketing for Ghostbusters, they kind of fed into the faux feminists that are trying to pass off like, these are strong women when they're really not. Then there are the ones that say things like, if you don't support it, it's because you're a woman hater. And then there's the men who are like, if you support this, that means you hated the original Ghostbusters. And I feel like they just took all that vitriol and somebody realized, oh, you can market with that because there's no such thing as bad publicity. You sank the Ghostbusters franchise. You're sinking this. You need to find a new means to promote your stuff now because it's not working.
Actually, I would disagree there. It worked. That's why the Emoji Movie is still technically a success. Even though it is at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes for a time.
But the thing is, it's not a success. For a $50 million budget, it's only made $25 million so far, and you have to take into account, you need to double it to $100 million for marketing, and that's only us, like, the general rule is, take the budget, times it by 2, that's what marketing budget was. However, we've seen how much they marketed this, to the point that we can honestly almost infer they probably spent more on marketing than they did spend on actually making this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, the thing is, this isn't a success. This is a bomb. And, like, they had this. They bombed Ghostbusters. The 2 Spider-Man movies didn't meet expectations. I think Smurfs did okay. I don't think it was like, oh man, this was like... the thing is, they want, like, a Frozen. Something that makes, like, $1 billion.
Yeah, every company wants that.
Yeah, but Disney always gets that. like Zootopia made $1 billion as well.
Yeah, and Sony's just the type of just trying to find their cash cow and doing any means they want to try to get it.
Let the creatives create then, because I've noticed that a lot of the problem I keep hearing about that behind the closed doors is they keep getting into confrontations with the creatives, because there was supposed to be a Popeye animated film by Gendy, and I had heard they canceled it for the Emoji Movie. It's a shame, because the clip that I had seen of it looked okay. I enjoy Popeye. He's a neat character.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I don't know if
I'm all right with Popeye.
Yeah, I don't know if I need a movie of Popeye, but I think I'd be more excited to see a Popeye film, especially with Gendy attached, as opposed to an Emoji film with, like, a no-named person attached. And then you go over to, like, the Ghostbusters one. It sank horribly, and they even boasted when that was coming out, yeah, we got, like, I think 5 or 7 movies we can get out of this. Comes out, we might have an animated film.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of the animated film.
I heard there's rumor of an animated film, and then there was talk that they wanted to do a crossover of 21 Jump Streets franchise with Men in Black, and then there was another rumor that said those 2 plus Ghostbusters, and it's just like, you know what? Guys have...
They have no consistent idea in their head.
You have no idea what you're doing. You're like a dog chasing cars. If you caught that car, you would have no idea what to do with it once you did.